Fine. In the last class, we have discussed what exactly an operating system, what kind of responsibility that it will have to process all the user requests. Okay. So now let us start the continuation of the yesterday's class. That is the functions of operating system. So in that, the first and foremost important function of operating system is the processor management. So, processor management means simply the definition of the process is a program in execution. Probably you may not understand what exactly a program in execution. Let us see, for example, whatever it may be, using the application programs, anything that the user can do with the computer system, you can treat it as a process. For example, if you try to develop a Word document. For that purpose, what we have to do, we just simply click on the new, when you click on the right click on the desktop, it shows some options like new, where you can select to open the new Word document, right? During this process, so whenever suppose, let me show how it will happen. Uh, okay. Oh, okay, no issue. So when I start doing something, it is going to be started. Okay. Uh, so whenever, if you click on the Word document, or if you try to write a C program, or if you try to do some other things in your system, usually what we'll do, we just double click on it to open it, right? Suppose if it is the existing file, suppose if it is existing the file, what it means? Which resides or which was stored in the storage area. Say, for example, some drive D or E somewhere else in your computer system. So whenever if you double click on it, what it means? It passes some information to the operating system, like what kind of request it passes? The user wants to open it. So for that, internally what it has to do? The operating system will redirect it to the concerned authorities. Or let me explain what happens internally. Whenever if you double click on it, what operating system will do is whatever the file that you have selected for the opening, okay, so first it need to find out where the contents of that particular file, or where the file is located in the storage area, because it's not a small area where you can go and search, because it is a huge volume of space where a lot of files are stored. Okay, so among those files, whatever the file that the user wanted to open, so finding that, it takes some time, right? And then once it find out the location, what it has to do, it need to fetch all the contents from that location. Usually it is in secondary storage. Okay, suppose if it is in secondary storage means other than RAM. Other than RAM means maybe it is in a hard disk, or maybe it is in a pen drive, or maybe it in the some other storage area, right? So here why I'm specifying all these storage areas is each and every physical storage area is having its own set of characteristics. That means some of them may be the process, storage process may be different, accessing process may be different. Okay, the time it respond to the user request is separate. Okay, like that, each and every storage area is having its own set of characteristics. So operating system has to coordinate all kinds of these characteristics, because suppose if the user wants to open a file which is located in hard disk, it is having specific characteristics. So by following those characteristics, operating system has to load the contents from secondary storage, hard disk to primary storage area. right? Suppose if you try to open the contents which present in the pen drive, right? Pen drive is having, it is also storage area, but it will have a separate characteristics when compared with the hard disk. So whenever while try to open the or while try to read the contents from the pen drive, operating system has to follow the characteristics of this. So you just imagine how complex job that the operating system is going to do. Hope you are all clear with this point, right? So, okay, because always the processor or the CPU is able to execute the jobs which resides in the main memory only, which resides in the main memory only. Let me show you the diagram. I will draw something. Whiteboard. Okay. Uh, Say, for example, this is the main memory, okay, and this is CPU, central processing unit. Okay, so main memory, always CPU is having interaction between main memory and CPU. Okay, so there is no connectivity between secondary storage. Okay, so primary memory or main memory is having direct connection to the CPU. So whatever the job that you want to execute that need to be placed into the main memory, then only CPU will execute it. Or simply, instead of calling it as CPU, just simply we are calling it as a processor. Okay, so your process, in order to execute any job, okay, one should place the contents in the main memory. Okay, so there is no connectivity between CPU and the secondary storage area. Okay, so whenever if you made a request to open a particular file which is stored in the secondary storage area, what operating system does is simply first you try to find out the location, or simply you can call it as address of the file which resides, where it resides in the secondary storage area. So once it was identified, then it passes information to the loader, which will take care of loading your contents from the storage location to the main memory. Then only CPU will process it. Hope you're all clear on that. So during this process, or these all things are called as a process. Whenever if you double click on it, okay, so whatever it happens, whatever the process it happens, these all things we can call it as a process. Okay, so that is the meaning of a program in execution. Whatever the task which is running currently. And another important point here you need to remember is, like that we'll have n number of processes are running simultaneously. Okay, so that is what exactly the process. And in other way, so you can think in the olden days at the beginning of the computer revolution, where only one program is allowed to execute, okay, at a time, initial days. right? So in that case, what happens? Whatever the program that you have submitted for the execution will have all the control about the memory devices or whatever the resources that are required to complete the execution of that program will be supervised by that particular program only, right? What is the meaning of that? Along with your task, you need to specify, you need to add all other controls to supervise the execution of your program. So you can imagine how difficult it is. So writing a task is a difficult task. Along with that, you need to specify all the controls in your program. All these together, you can submit it as a program for the execution. Hope you're all clear with this or not. So that is happened in the olden days. But later on, what happens? The requirement gets changed. Submitting one program at a time and then second program, it leads to the difficulty. It increases the difficulty level as well as it takes a lot of time to complete the task. Lot of time means so many jobs are pending, so many requests, programs need to be executed, but whatever the system that you are using is able to execute only one program at a time. So in order to overcome these problems, people have started thinking in different direction. Why can't we allow multiple programs to be executed at a time rather than single? So almost the modern contemporary computer systems allows multiple programs to be loaded into memory and executed concurrently. So this evaluation required a form of control and more compartmentalization of the various programs. See, if it is the case of single program where the program had complete control of the system and had access to all the system resources, okay, so that is fine because the program will take care of everything along with your task. But whenever if you try to allow multiple programs to be executed concurrently, in that case, so each and every program is having its own requirements, right? So in the modern systems, we did not write the controlling mechanism in the program itself. Program means don't be confused. It's not your C program. It's not your C program or it's not your C++ program. Here the program means, suppose if you want to add two numbers. So whatever the logic that you have developed for the addition of two numbers, that you have written as, consider as a task, that you can consider as a task. Along with that, suppose if you want to use secondary storage area, you need to write the commands. How do we use the secondary storage area? Okay. Suppose if you want to use the input output devices, you need to write some other instructions how to use input output devices. Like all these things, you need to be specified in the single program itself. That is what I'm talking about. What is my intention of program. Hope you're all clear with this point or not. Are you able to understand what exactly the program here itself? Anyone of you give your response? Is it clear to you or not? Anyone of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right. So now coming to the point here, uh, in the modern system will allow you to execute multiple programs. Multiple program means you can execute multiple tasks at a time. So in that case, as you are clear that each and every program is having, or each and every task is having its own set of requirements. So now who will take care of supervising all these things among various tasks? Various tasks. So that is the question, right? So for that purpose, what people have developed the mechanism is all these needs resulted in the notion of a process, that is, which is a program in execution. Simply, you can consider a process is a unit of work in the modern systems. Okay, so now for each and every process or for each and every task, whatever the things that it need to be supervised, these all things are called as process controlling mechanism, or simply process management. Process management. That means probably your task may require the services of IO devices, or it requires the services of memory storage area, okay, or it requires the services of file manager, whatever it is. These all things need to be supervised with a particular software. Okay, so that software is called as operating system. That means it is one of the job, one of the functionality of the operating system. Operating system will not do this one only. Along with this, it can do some other things, but this is the one of the functionality that it would have. Right? So usually the process management, what it does is creation, deletion, and suspension of process. That means whenever if user wants to start execution of any particular application program or any task, so that is what we are calling it as initially creation. Right? Once the job has executed, so whatever the controlling mechanism that was added to that particular process is going to be deleted. As you have experienced with the deletion of process IDs, kill. You have used that command in the laboratory, kill command. Using that, we can delete the process. Right? For like that, we'll have commands for creation of the process also. Creation of the child process also. So very soon, we'll elaborately discuss about this process management. Until then, I hope you are all clear with what exactly the creation and deletion. Right? Is it clear or not? Anybody? So who is Srikanth? Unmute yourself. Srikanth. Srikanth, are you there? Srikanth, are you there or not? So probably he left him from this one. 38. Roll number 38. 538.
Sir,
Are you clear with what exactly a process?
yes, sir.
So, did you understand what exactly the creation and deletion of a process?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. So, like a suspension of a process. Now, the suspension of processes means sometimes, I don't know whether you might have experienced with this or not. Sometimes our system gets stuck because too many tasks are running. During that stage, if the processor is unable to process your request. So what we have to do, we need to minimize or we need to reduce the the number of tasks that are by deleting one after another. Okay, and sometimes, and another important example here itself is, suppose, let us assume that the processor is executing two processes. Okay, let us assume that the processor is executing two processes. So it was started executing the first process. During that execution, the first process requires the services of IO device. Okay, so what processor has to do at this case is simply it suspends the once it was once the process one is allocated for the IO devices. Okay, so okay, once again I'll repeat the same. Let us assume that process 1 and process 2 are the two processes which are currently being executed by processor. Okay, so now assume that processor 1, during the execution of the processor 1, it needs the services of IO devices. What processor has to do at this moment? Simply the process 1 execution will be redirected to the input output devices because it needs the services of IO devices. So that is the reason it was redirected to the IO devices. Okay, after that the processor has to wait until it comes back. Okay, so in the modern scenario, what people have developed the mechanism is, why unnecessarily make the CPU as idle when a particular process requires the services of other components. అంటే అక్కడ ఏం జరిగిందంటే ఆ ఐఓ డివైసెస్కి దానికి అలొకేట్ చేసిన తర్వాత సిపియు ఖాళీగా ఉంటుంది కాబట్టి దాన్ని ఖాళీగా ఎందుకు ఉంచాలి? సో immediately if we allow some other process for the execution so that we'll utilize the time of the CPU. Okay, so at this particular stage, temporarily the process 1 has suspended and process 2 get a chance of execution by the processor. Okay, so in such a way, sometimes it is required to suspend the process. Okay, and then allocate the processor to process and deallocate processors when a process is no longer required. Allocate the processor. That means here you can talk about the scheduling algorithms, the scheduling process. As I told you in the last class, whatever the number of processes that are being executed or that are to be executed by the processor need to be entered into the queue. Okay, so all the process which are present in the queue will be processed by the processor one after another by following the queue notation. That means first come, first serve. For that, in order to execute all your processes in an effective way, there are several scheduling algorithms have been developed. Okay, so shortest job first. Okay, first come first serve, round robin, like that. Several scheduling algorithms have been developed to process the processes which are present in the queue. Okay, once the execution of that particular one is over, immediately it deallocates the processor when it does not, particular process is not requires its services. See, ఇక్కడ మీరు అందరూ అర్థం చేసుకోవాల్సినటువంటి ఇంపార్టెంట్ పాయింట్ ఏంటంటే, ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ ఎన్ని పనులు చేస్తుంది, ఎందుకు చేయాల్సి వస్తుంది, ఇవన్నీ ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమే ఎందుకు చేయాలి అనేటువంటి విషయాన్ని మీరు అందరూ అర్థం చేసుకోవడానికి ప్రయత్నం చేయండి. ఇక్కడ హియర్ మై ఇంటెన్షన్ ఈజ్ నాట్ టు ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ ప్రాసెస్ అండ్ ఆల్ దీస్ థింగ్స్. హియర్ what kind of challenges that you are supposed to be addressed when you want to develop a new operating system. Design goals, simply we are calling it as a design goals. Okay, the context where you are supposed to address, right? Okay, now provides synchronization for process communication. As I told you, there are so many situations one process may wants to communicate with other process. So in that case, the synchronization plays an important role, right? So that process synchronization is also be done by the operating system itself, and it provides the mechanism for deadlock handling. So as I tell you, if one resource is utilized by one process, okay, if some other process wants the utilization of this particular resource, which is already occupied with some other process, we can call it as one kind of deadlock. Okay, so very soon we will discuss elaborately all these functionalities with various live examples very soon in the next chapter. Okay, uh, until then, hope you're all clear with what exactly the process management. Is it clear to everybody? Or still, if you have any queries, please. Because yesterday somebody raised a question like they are a little bit lagging in understanding process management. So that's why I was repeated once again. Still, if you have any query, I'll explain another example to illustrate what exactly the process management. Anybody? Anybody is having any query? Oh, great. Okay. Now, let us move to the next functionality of the operating system, that is memory management. So memory management refers to the management of primary or main memory. As I think in section 1 we have discussed this particular point, but section 2 it's not. Okay. So as I told you, processor is having direct communication to the main memory only. So whatever the things that are executed in your system need to be present in the main memory, then only it could be executed. This point is clear? Okay. Now, how do we organize this primary memory? That means loading the contents. Suppose when you have loaded some data into the main memory. Okay. So what it has to do? So the processor will try to execute the contents which are present in the main memory. Only one program is loaded into the main memory? No. Nowadays, it allows multiple programs to be loaded into the main memory, and all these programs will be executed concurrently by the processor. Okay. So here, suppose, let us assume that your file is having 1 TB of data, 1 terabyte. Okay. So you, but the primary memory is small in size. You cannot accommodate the whole file at a time into the memory. So what happens in that? What we have to do in that case? Your file size is 1 TB. Let us imagine your primary memory is 4 GB of RAM. Okay. So how do we accommodate 1 TB of file into the primary memory in order to execute it by the processor? So it is not possible. Straight away it is not possible because the primary storage area is having limited capacity, but the file which you want to execute or the program which you want to run is huge in size. So in that case, what happens? A part of your computer, first few lines of the code is going to be loaded into the memory and then it gets executed. After that, the second part. Here, it is very difficult actually, but for a better understanding, I told you like that. The file size is large when compared with the primary storage area. In that case, what happens is internally, a part of the file is getting executed by the processor. That means first few lines will be loaded into the memory. Those few lines will be processed by processor. After that, those few lines will be again removed from the main memory and will be placed in the original file itself. Then the next block will be loaded. Like that, third block, fourth block. Like that, blockwise the content will be loaded into the main memory and that will be processed. After that, it will be reloaded into the original location. Because suppose if we try to keep it in the primary memory, what I mean to say is first block is loaded into the memory that was processed. Okay. After completion of that process, I mean a block execution, if you are not clear the contents of the block one in the main memory, what happens? There is no place for loading the second block or some other program. So that is the reason once the execution is completed, immediately it will be cleared. Because why we need to implement such kind of mechanism? Because we have limited capacity of the storage area. That is primary memory. Okay. So how internally the memory is represented is a large array of words or bytes, where each word or byte has its own address. As you are aware of it, when you create a variable. What happens in that case? Depends upon the data type, it will be allocated the space. For example, character data. So character variable requires 1 byte of data. 1 byte means 8 bits. Right? So for that byte, you will have address, memory location address. Right? So main memory provides a fast storage that can be accessed directly by the CPU. Okay, of course, even though if it is secondary storage area, that can be accessed, but not directly. That will be loaded into the primary memory, then it will be processed by the processor. Not directly processor will go to the secondary storage area to fetch the data and it will be processed as the way in the primary way. It won't happen in the case of secondary storage area, right? Now, what kind of activities that operating system when it deals with the memory management is, first point is the keeps track of primary memory, that is what part of it are in use by whom, what part are not in use. So always it keeps track of maintaining information regarding, suppose this particular moment two processes are executing. Okay, so whatever the locations that are occupied by the two processes in the primary memory was recorded by the OS, and what is the vacant space, how much of space is available. Suppose if someone has made a request to execute the third job, okay, in that case it should understand whether the space is available in the main memory or not. In order to do all these activities, it need to maintain a record where it keeps what are the jobs are executing, what kind of what is the space that they are occupying, what is the vacant space. Like that it maintains some information and then allocates the memory when a process requests to do so, and deallocates the memory when a process no longer needs it or has been terminated. Right? So depends upon the vacant space, it will allocate memory to the process. So once it was completed its execution, immediately it deallocates. Deallocates means it was removed from the main memory so that the particular place is going to be vacant, and then only it is possible to allocate it for the some other process. Is it clear to everybody? Memory management. Is it clear or not? Nobody is responding. Are you there or not? Memory management is clear or not? Okay. Correct. Now, another important functionality is file management. So now here, what exactly a file first? File is a collection of related information defined by its creator. That means, suppose you want to open a text document. So what is your intention at that moment? You want to type some text on it. Okay. Suppose if you want to open an Excel sheet where you can write some formulas for manipulating some operation, for doing some operations on the row data and column data, as well as where you may you may store numbers in the columns, or you may store in the text, like depends upon your requirement. Okay, so here a collection of information, or simply call it as a file. So in C language, you might have studied about array. A collection of similar data items stored in the contiguous memory locations is called as an array. There is a collection, and all the elements are of same type. When coming to the structure, a collection of heterogeneous data items. There also it is a collection, but the contents are heterogeneous. Okay, for both array and structure, there will be a limitations. But when coming to the file, you can create the file size may be your interest, right? So you may have 1 TB of file size, you may have 390 of MB of data, you may have 1 KB of data, like depends upon your requirement you can store. But whereas in the arrays and structures, where you can keep only one kind of data, or okay. So here the file system is normally organized into directories for easy navigation and uses. So where we'll keep all these things? Suppose if you create a Word document, where you can keep it, either you may store it in the desktop, or you may store it in the D drive, or it may be stored in the some other location, right? So where the D drive or the C drive or some other is the directory. Okay, in that you can create your own file itself, right? So whenever if you want to move to the particular file location, the directory structure will help you for the easy navigation or locating your file where it is available. Okay, so in this context, what operating system has to do is, the first one is keeps track of information, location, uses, status, etc. of the files. That means it maintains, as I told you, file allocation table, where it maintains the information regarding the location of all the files which are stored inside your storage area. Okay, so if there is no such kind of information is available, suppose let us imagine if the index is not available in your textbook, what happens in that case? If the index page is not present in your textbook, what happens in that case? Searching for a particular topic will become very difficult for us. Am I right or wrong? So, just it operating system is also maintain such kind of record where all the files are stored. That means the location and what kind of file it is, what kind of data it can be stored, like extensions .txt, .exe, .xls, .docx, right? So these all what specifies what kind of information that it could be accommodate. These all things are maintained. This all information is maintained by the OS. And creation, deletion, and manipulation of files and directories. So it is possible you can create your own directory by using the command make a dir, mkdir. Okay, and you can delete the command using rm, the directory, and even the files. Okay, and allocate the resources and deallocate the resources. So whenever if you create a new file, what happens? You are supposed to allocate the memory space for it, right? Whenever if you delete a particular file, internally what happens? The memory which is allocated for that particular file is going to be deleted, right? Like that, it maintains the information regarding all the file activities, right? So that is about file management. So far we have discussed three functionalities. One is process management, memory management, and file management. Is it clear to everybody, or still if you have any queries regarding these three, you can ask now. Any one of you. Now you have the facility of unmute yourself. So if you have any query, you can unmute and ask the question. Or you can drop a message in the chat box if you are unable to speak. So I think you're all clear with these three functionalities of the operating system, right? Okay. Okay, nice. Good. So in the next class, we will see the remaining functionalities of the operating system. Okay. So now I will end the session. Thank you.